I'm watching videos of the lady that invented my machine, the Cyma 1000.
And for the past 20 years, I've been researching very specific sound frequencies and how they impact our physiology. On the left side of the screen, you see some therapeutic sound devices I played a part in creating, along with some awards and patents.
That's the
and
one I
on
have.
the right side of your screen, you're seeing some examples of creative expression using sound that I've produced. These are with sound-made visible images. We call them cymoglyphs. And in my research, I have found that the images
There's my machine.
beauty imprint upon our visual cortex and initiate states of calm and relaxation. And I'll explain this and some research that I've done around this in just a little bit.
There's only a handful of these machines on this planet. Go to cymatones.com on how to access them. Let's continue.
Those of you who are familiar with biogeometry, the book itself emits BG3 vibrations. So it's nice to have on your shelf or table, just for the good vibes. And of course, the story is fun too. For this presentation, we're going to focus on resonance. And my first experiences with the principles of resonance and entrainment were in a Gothic-style church, where the sounds of the Latin Mass, the pipe organ, and the songs of the choir reverberated within the arcs and the spires and the domes. After college, I traveled to India and found yet another style of resonant architecture built with specific mathematical proportions, creating a force field of resonance. And when you walk into these types of structures, the field is palpable. You can feel it just instantly. Being in these structures, I felt resonance not only within the walls, arcs, and domes of these structures, but also a resonance in my head. And in my chest and torso, I could feel this like resounding with the music or with the song or prayers that were spoken in this space. These mystical spaces are built on what we know as the golden mean or golden ratio. And our bodies have a special affinity for the golden ratio as we experience it daily in nature. So it makes sense that these architects would build these resonant structures on vortices we find on the earth that have naturally occurring magnetism, and built so that the structures can harness sound and light. So these happen to be the three most powerful energies that we have in the universe of sound, light, and magnetics. Embedded into the architecture, we find what I call harmonic codes, images and geometries that give us further access to deep states of healing or coherence. In some cases, such as this one, we see a pillar in the Rosslyn Chapel outside of in Scotland, and we also see cubes noted within the ceiling, the arc of the ceiling, with cymatic images, and they've recently been decoded into music. The angel here is pointing to the scale and notes, and we find that there are secrets or notations left to us throughout history, these harmonic codes for us to take note of. We call it the wisdom handed down to us, and we find that this
is some great stuff. This is some great stuff. I have a couple of videos talking about the cathedrals and the churches and how they're healing devices and energetic centers. They're actually transformers that are able to take etheric energy from our air, our electric air, plugged into the magnetism of our earth magnet, because it's a battery, and it creates this field, this energy field that we feel as if we're being healed inside the church. But that's because these locations are very special on ley lines on the planet, so they're already energetically more active, plus the shape of the building. I may need a part two.
These methods of harnessing resonance were passed down from the master architect to the apprentice throughout centuries. So creating healing spaces of resonance, of sound and light for healing the body, mind, and spirit has been happening throughout the history of our time. And seeking resonance, healthy resonance, is not new. We find resonant architecture throughout Greece in over the 300 temples in honor of Asclepius, the god of medicine. And these temples are located near bodies of water to facilitate the healing process. Our bodies have a special and natural resonance with water, as we're over 70% water. And patients would travel far and wide to visit these temples and spend night after night, maybe up to 2 weeks even in these temples, to regain some healthy resonance. And in the morning, priests and priestesses would come to them and journal for them their experiences, particularly their dream states, because they found that there was some real indicative clues as to why they were not feeling completely coherent in their states of health. And here on the right, we see a representation of the temple by Ernst Ford. And today, we have a field of study that has emerged, archaeoacoustics. And this is the blend of archaeology and acoustics. And we see David Lubman's research here noting at St. Warburg's Cathedral how this resonance affects our brain. And here we see in Malta, the cave that people would come to, and you see these little benches that people would cozy into, and their spines would rest there as song was produced. And there would be this emitting of healing and resonant vibrations. So what happens when we enter one of these architectural resonant spaces and stand under a dome, as you see
that
here,
looks like a
is you feel
speaker.
an actual sonic realignment in your whole body. In your head, there's a mild buzzing and vibrations of waves that course throughout the body.
Doesn't it look like my speaker?
That were left, and we're now rediscovering how science is confirming these texts, is that it's coherence in the five bodies, the physical and the subtle bodies, that takes place automatically when we're in these types of environments. Today, researchers tell us we need coherence in all of the bodies for a complete healing experience. And this information is not new. Throughout history, the interplay of the physical and subtle bodies has been known. In the Vedic times, these bodies have been known as the five koshas. And at certain points throughout history, they became known as the auric fields. And in just the past couple of decades, the term human biofield has been accepted by the NIH as a scientific term. My research of the vibrational world was given a specific scientific explanation when I came to know the work of Dr. Hans Jenny, a Swiss medical doctor and natural scientist. And Dr. Jenny was a professor at the Rudolf Steiner College. And it was Jenny who began to use modern technology to make sound visible. He coined the term cymatics for his field of study, the study of wave phenomena. And today we say that cymatics is the science of making sound visible. He actually coined the term cymatics, which comes from the Greek word chyma, which means wave. And as I was introduced to Jenny's work in 2001, I could see in the material world what I hadn't seen before. The vibratory waves that I had witnessed as a child were coming to life in his experiments. And my memories of the geometric symbols that I saw in the Gothic cathedrals and the temples in India came to life. And it also brought back words from my childhood that I had heard from the Bible. In the beginning was the Word, and gave way a deeper understanding for me, which science is now confirming that our ancient scriptural text, and that is sound begets light. Then I met a British osteopath, Dr. Peter Guy Manners, and he was a member of a collaborative group of scientists and researchers, and they had discovered over 750 frequency patterns affecting the physical and emotional states of health. And each of these codes were emitting 5 frequencies, and they were using acoustic sound, not electromagnetic waves. And the sounds that they were using were to support and balance the body. They weren't to destroy pathogens. And this made complete sense to me, because when we bring the body back into balance, then the body...
This is the person that invented my machine. Dr. Peter Guy Manners and Mandara Cromwell collaborated to create this Cyma 1000. So those 750 frequencies, resonant codes that they're talking about are the ones that you've been listening to here. Here's my quick guide on the different programs, the different resonant frequencies they're talking about. And I'm probably going to need a part 2 because that's such a great video. But this is just an example, the history of how this machine affects our energy body using these sounds. Let's continue.
Uses its own intelligence to work its own magic. And how they were applying these specific sound frequencies were through a specific type of transducer. And I found that this was sending a cellular communication in a different way than what we receive when we use a headset. And so here on the right side of the screen, I want to share that these 5 frequencies.
This is the special transducer she's talking about. You can't find it anywhere. I found the instructions to create it, so I'm creating it to plug into a cell phone or a computer. I'm going to take a quick break from that video and just show you the amazing sounds being emitted from this transducer that she's talking about that emits these different frequencies. So I'm going to go to something called clear blockages, acupuncture blockage, which is recommended for basically every single meridian blockage. Here we go. That's playing 5 frequencies. My files, you are still able to feel that vibration through your headset. Let's keep going.
These correspond to different organ and tissue systems in the body. So there's a special quintet or a special 5-strand harmonic that correlates to the liver, and another special one for the pancreas, and another one for the thyroid and the kidneys, and so on. And so I went to work in the clinic using this type of sound, and I was using it specifically for people who were coming for pain relief, either physical or emotional pain. And what I found in follow-up visits is that this type of therapy of using these audible sounds consisting of 5 frequency patterns were having a whole body effect, that they were reporting benefits in other areas of their lives. So they would come for pain in their physical body and for like torn tissues and fractures, etc., sports injuries that had lots of swelling and inflammation and scar tissues, and they would say that their respiratory system was working better. People with COPD were breathing better, the asthma was dissipating, the digestive system was working better, they were getting better sleep. Oh my goodness, good sleep is not to be underrated at all, because that's when the body goes into its deep restoration process.
The reason for that is because everything is connected. Western medicine splits it up into different systems: digestive, respiratory, reproductive. They're all one and the same thing. You. One being of energy, electromagnetic, affected by sound wave. Your water is vibrating to these sounds. Water has memory. It's been proven. 5 to 6 minutes is all you need. I listen to them all night long. Let's keep going.
And the periodontal and the teeth and the hair, anxiety and depression were subsiding. And their eyesight, people were saying they could see better. Their hearing was a little better. And the sexual function, men were reporting that their wives were happy again because of these issues being resolved. And we had some young women who were having fertility issues. And after the 2nd or 3rd month of coming, they had become pregnant. So that's a good thing. So what I saw is that all of these systems were coming on board by just relieving the stress and pain. And as I looked more closely at to what this sound was doing, it began to make sense to me of using these 5 specific frequencies, these harmonic codes, were kind of massaging all of the systems back into their optimum operation. And this particular type of sound is using sine waves, and we find these sine waves in nature. And so it's kind of like these are sine wave sound formulas, and the body's own intelligence was taking it to different areas where it needed to be relaxed, where there were areas of congestion. The body seemed to get back on board. So I began to expect these common responses from people, that they would report that they were getting better quality of sleep. And again, a good night's sleep is not to be underrated. When we don't get good sleep, the body doesn't drop into its restoration process. We wake up cranky, irritable, we don't make good decisions.
Part 2.